I am one of the main overseers that torment Peter's family. So, a pretty heavy, bad guy role. The inhumane way that people were treated in that time is something that I think is whitewashed today. And I think Antoine and Will have done, and the whole crew have done a beautiful job of telling a story in a brutally honest way that portrays a very uncomfortable time in our history.
I'm a fan of Will Smith, and I think he's done some of the best work of his career in this film. I hope people have an open-hearted dialogue about our commonalities and our responsibilities for the actions of the past. Well, I think if you turn on the news cycle, you can see unbelievable racial cruelty and anti-Semitic cruelty on a daily basis. So, was it hard? It's heartbreaking to see that the repercussions of what we've done in this country still exists.
Honestly, it was the hardest movie I've ever done. It's phenomenal to be able to work beside Will and some other guys who just embraced the whole movie, the empowerment of it, being in the swamps and making everything as real. So it was phenomenal. Will Smith, his acting is on another level. Our first day of shooting with him, his stuntman, he was like, "No, I'm doing it." He took off ready down the field by himself, and I was like, "Okay, he's all in."
Maybe I'm insane, but I was like, I can't wait to do this role. I just connected to her from the first read and just kind of felt like there was some place inside of me that could deliver that. It's heavy, it's a heavy time period. We shot on an actual plantation, so it was very, very intense. So yeah, it wasn't an easy one. He's great, he's charming, he's a great leader, he's so generous, he's a marvelous actor, a great talent, he's all the things you want. All the things you expect from Will Smith.
I just thought it was an amazing piece of American history that hadn't really been told, and I was kind of fascinated by everyone had an image in mind and didn't really know a story.
I play Gordon. I'm one of the other enslaved men who meet Peter at one of the camps and hear about the fact that some slaves are free, some people are running to freedom, some others have already been emancipated, and start to realize together that we have a chance to change our lives for the first time. It's a story you want to tell as truthfully as possible to honor the lives of the people you're trying to depict who essentially brought us to where we are today.
Leeds is a former soldier who's been injured who watches over the slaves at the Confederate Railroad camp where the first half of the movie takes place. He's definitely not a good guy, no. He's an awful guy. 3 days into shooting, I got back to my hotel room and I was Zooming with one of my family or something like that, and I just started to get really emotional, and it was because you were taking it home with you a little bit. Sometimes I would see shots happening where there's no production in my eye shot, and it was disturbing.
I play Thomas in the character. I'm one of the youngest in the movie. He's just the youngest, and I was taken, and I think I show a part of the vulnerability of a young man on a plantation. I remember tweeting back in 2014 when I first moved to LA, I was like, my dream is to work with Will. So then fast forward 7 years later, I'm working with Will.
It's not an enslavement movie. It's a freedom movie. It's a love movie. It's a family movie. It's a family about love overcoming all odds to bring a family back together. That's really what I haven't seen it yet, but that's what I saw in the script. Working with Antoine was probably one of the highlights of my life so far, to be able to work with Antoine Fuqua. And the same for Will Smith. I mean, but unfortunately, the time was very short. But with Antoine, we had more time, we had conversations. He's just the best.
It was about empowerment. It was about someone taking their own freedom into their own hands, trying to get back to their loved ones, not waiting for the cavalry to arrive, but doing it themselves, And so instead of a victim movie, it felt like a victor movie.
I play Lorette, Will Smith's younger daughter. He was super nice, super energetic. He was really nice. Mr. Antoine, he is like super funny. I love him as a director. I want people to learn that, do not treat people that way of how that was a long time ago.
I never worked on a movie with so little dialogue. Most of it there is no dialogue, and it's Peter, running for his life in this incredible setting and beautifully shot. So the music had to convey a lot, and it's almost wall-to-wall music. I felt it's a little bit like the Odyssey in a way, where this incredible epic journey that this man has to go through.
I play Major General Halstead, George Blight Halstead, who was instrumental in putting the black slaves together with the soldiers. Will was amazing. He was very immersed in his world.
Harrington is a part of a trilogy of ex-Confederate soldiers led by Ben Foster, who have been hired to chase down Peter, Will Smith's character. As cliche as it is, if we don't know our history, we're condemned to repeat it. No hyperbole, Will Smith is the nicest man I ever met, and I worked with him for 6 months. He's the best.
You're gonna feel, and it represents, right? There's 400 years of slavery. It's an important thing. So I think, it's tough to watch, but it's beautiful, tragically beautiful.
Peter's story has endured for 160 years. It's never been brought to life, and I thought that there was this time that the world needs healing and to be brought together in a way that he did 160 years ago, and Will and Antoine grabbed onto that idea. We knew this was about faith and love and so much positive things that we just thought this should be done.
I've heard the question, do we need another slave movie? And this is not another slave movie. This is a freedom movie. This is a movie about love and family, the power of the human spirit, and I think it's a story that we all need to see, hear, and feel. I had seen the picture of whipped Peter. As a child, I had seen it, but I didn't know much about it. And then when I read the screenplay, it's very rare that as an actor you read something like that you absolutely positively have to make this movie. When I create, my hope is always to be able to open up compassion, to be able to play a character, to be able to tell a story that you feel it in a way that it unlocks some part of your heart toward the plight of another human. And I think that this film does that beautifully.